plan to waive compounded interest. Nationwide enforcement of patuh from Thursday. Hello and good evening. Thanks for joining us. You're watching News at 10. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Banks will waive the compounded interest and penalty charges incurred during the 6-month loan moratorium under the National People's Wellbeing and Economic Recovery Package Pemulih. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said the government had raised the matter with the banks during their meeting recently and they had agreed to it.
Fokus ialah moratorium ini untuk membantu aliran tunai bagi mereka yang terkesan golongan B40, M40 dan T20. So inilah masa kita turun padang, inilah yang mereka mahukan. Mereka mahukan pertolongan. Kita pun bercakap dengan bank-bank, tolonglah yang mana kesan, yang tak terkesan pun kita kena tolong, make the process simple. Proses itu akan menjadi simple di mana mereka hanya perlu membuat application online, on the phone ataupun pergi ke cawangan dan mereka akan mendapat kelulusan secara automatik. Tidak ada pertanyaan, tidak ada borang.
He added that the public could lodge reports and complaints if the banks raise a compound and charge a penalty on the moratorium. Yesterday, Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin announced a 6-month moratorium on loan repayments for individual borrowers across all income brackets. Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives MDEC is allocating 100 billion ringgit for the first close last to open FCLO program, a recovery program for the non-essential business and services who have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar said around 10,000 micro-entrepreneurs are expected to benefit from the FCLO program. Apart from offering funding of up to 10,000 ringgit per participant, the program also provides end-to-end solution for participants such as structured advisory and consulting services, as well as guidance, training and monitoring. The minister said the program would give priority to businesses such as maternity care, book and stationery stores, tuition centres, event management, catering, car wash and tailoring. The 100 million ringgit allocation is provided to Tekun under the National People's Wellbeing and Economic Recovery Package Pemulih announced by Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin yesterday. RM46.99 million has been channeled to 81 production companies in the creative industry sector, opening up to 3,074 jobs opportunities. According to Communications and Multimedia Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, the allocation involved 4 categories of art industry, namely fiction films, documentaries, marketing and TV OTT programs.
Kategori yang pertama ialah dana filem cereka yang akan melibatkan 60 buah syarikat dengan jumlah peruntukan dia 40.55 juta. Kemudian dana dokumentari yang melibatkan 7 syarikat yang melibatkan dana sebanyak 1.84 juta. Yang ketiga, dana pemasaran melibatkan 6 buah syarikat yang melibatkan jumlah peruntukan sebanyak RM900,000. Dan yang keempat ialah dana program TV OTT kerjasama khas Astro yang melibatkan 8 buah syarikat dan jumlah peruntukan sebanyak 3.7 juta.
The funds are hoped to stimulate the production of creative content at a high level, as well as optimizing the potential of the creative industry in the domestic and global market. Malaysia has the potential to be a halal vaccine and medical product hub in the region. International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin Ali said, as a new source of economic growth, the halal industry is seen as capable of playing a role to break free from the current health and economic crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Datuk Seri Muhammad Azmin said in the context of the ongoing pandemic and the demand for better healthcare, the country must focus on the pharmaceutical industry to gain growth momentum. To this end, Halal Development Corporation Berhad HDC and Bank Islam Malaysia Berhad today announced a partnership to provide a new Go Halal fund with an initial allocation of 100 million ringgit. The fund is eligible for local small and medium enterprises (SMEs) to embark or expand into the halal industry, which is expected to grow to $3 trillion by 2030.
Saya yakin 300 PKS yang bakal mendapat manfaat daripada dana halal akan membantu usahawan tempatan, terutamanya golongan B40 dan M40 untuk memperluaskan perniagaan mereka dengan berlandaskan kepada ekosistem industri halal yang menyeluruh sehingga ke peringkat global.
Basing on its potential, the government plans to turn the halal industry into a strategic industry in line with the Shared Prosperity Vision 2030, with a special focus on encouraging higher participation of Bumiputra-owned SMEs in the halal industry. A large-scale standard operating procedure SOP enforcement operation, or OP Patuh, will be conducted nationwide starting Thursday. The 4-day operation will involve 21 agencies as well as departments working in collaboration with the Home Ministry. According to its Minister, Datuk Seri Hamzah Zainuddin, any failure to comply with the stipulated SOPs by the public, including business premise owners, may result in compounds and maximum fines imposed onto them.
Begitu juga dengan mereka yang bersendirian, yang keluar, sepatutnya duduk di rumah, tak patut keluar, mereka keluar. Ini juga adalah sesuatu yang akan kita pastikan supaya dalam nationwide crackdown yang akan kita lakukan ini, PBT akan kita arahkan dalam satu waktu untuk pergi buat snap check di kawasan-kawasan yang tertentu. Kemudian kalau di BKL kita akan arahkan beberapa kawasan. Kita akan lakukan mapping ini di seluruh negara.
He said the ministry also will obtain list of services sector allowed to operate from the International Trade and Industry Ministry and to compare it with the Health Ministry's list of factories that recorded positive COVID-19 cases. Government service counters nationwide will be operational physically from 1st of July. According to Chief Secretary to the Government, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, the decision was made after acknowledging the need to open these counters based on feedback from the public. Operations will center on services that are not possible to be conducted online, with a counter staff capacity of not more than 50%, and customers' physical presence will only be based on scheduled appointments. Department heads must ensure that all COVID-19 related SOPs are adhered to at all times in providing optimum service to the public, while at the same time controlling the spread of COVID-19 virus at the workplace. Currently, government counter services are closed and transactions are done online, except health service counters, police stations, and at international entry points involving customs, immigration, and quarantine since the announcement of the implementation of the first phase of a full lockdown nationwide. Coming up, Agong repeats call for Parliament to sit as soon as possible. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah today repeated his view that a parliament sitting should be held as soon as possible to enable the proclamation of emergency and emergency ordinances to be tabled as provided for in Article 150 subsection 3 of the Federal Constitution. Comptrollers of the Royal Household of Istana Negara, Dato' Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, said Al-Sultan Abdullah expressed the view following a meeting with the Senate President Tan Sri Dr. Rais Yatim and Dewan Rakyat Speaker Dato' Azhar Azizan Harun at Istana Negara today and the special meeting of the Malay rulers on 16 June. In a statement, Dato' Ahmad Fadil said His Majesty was of the view that a parliament sitting should be held as soon as possible in compliance with the COVID-19 guidelines and standard operating procedures SOP set by the government and parliament. The King is also of the view that all select committees of the 14th Parliament should continue their meetings for the implementation of check and balance mechanisms to ensure transparency, integrity and responsibility, especially in tackling issues relating to public policy, society, finance and national expenditure. He said it should be made clear that the views expressed were the stance of His Majesty and the Malay rulers in their capacity as constitutional monarchs based on the principles of supremacy of the Constitution and rule of law. Also in attendance at today's meeting were Senate Deputy President Senator Datuk Sri Muhammad Ali Muhammad and both Deputy Speakers of Dewan Rakyat, Datuk Sri Azlina Othman said and Datuk Muhammad Rashid Hasnun. The government is currently studying possibility of allowing some flexibility to states with low numbers of COVID-19 cases. This includes a recommendation that these states are allowed to travel across districts. Senior Minister for Security Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the matter was discussed in the Special Conference of National Security Council MKN chaired by the Prime Minister recently.
Saya faham dulu pernah kita lakukan ya dulu, tapi ramai yang kata agak mengelirukan. Dulu kita pernah buat waktu dulu PKPB, PKPP, di dalam ada negeri yang PKPB, ada negeri yang PKPP, malah dulu dalam satu negeri daerah pun ada daerah yang PKPB, PKPP. Tapi waktu tu orang komplain, rakyat komplain, kata confused. Dalam satu negeri pun ada beberapa SOP yang berbeza. Jadi semalam kita bincang juga dari segi threshold negeri ini. Jadi insya-Allah lah kita akan detailkan dulu ya. Kita akan detailkan, kalau sampai masanya kita akan umum.
Prior to this, the senior had said that inter-district and interstate travel will still not be allowed during Phase 2 of the National Recovery Plan's movement control, save for school teachers and students sitting for their final exams of the year. In another development, Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri said the Malaysian Armed Forces ATM will build 4 more field hospitals to help the Health Ministry contain the COVID-19 pandemic. This is after the ministry has successfully completed the hiring of 30 doctors and 100 health workers. According to Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, 377 applications were received since 21st June. However, only 130 were selected. The recruitment now allows the ATM to meet the needs of field hospital operations.
Dan pengambilan doktor dan paramedik ini kita lakukan dengan cara yang segera, paling segera, tidak melalui proses-proses biasa. Kalau tidak, lama ni untuk dapat paramedik dan doktor sendiri boleh memakan masa 2-3 bulan. Tapi kita ni very fast, dalam masa 2 minggu saja kita telah dapat mengambil 130 ini, dan sebahagian besarnya doktor dan paramedik yang kita ambil ini adalah bekas pegawai perubatan dan juga paramedik, nurses, jururawat dan sebagainya, bekas yang bertugas dengan bahagian kesihatan Angkatan Tentera Malaysia.
The senior minister was met after a meet and greet session with contract medical officers and health workers at the Tuanku Mizan Armed Forces Hospital in Wang Semaju. So far, a total of 6 field hospitals have been set up in Pokok Sena, Kedah, Tawau, Sabah, Kapit, Sarawak, Kepala Batas Pulau Pinang, Sultanah Aminah Hospital in Johor Bahru and Labuan. The number of persons with disabilities OKUs who registered for COVID-19 vaccination has increased to 306,740 as of 27th June from 280,904 recorded on 20th June. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Rina Harun said it is only possible with the help by volunteers in assisting the groups to register for the national COVID-19 vaccination drive.
Jadi yang 446,000 yang telah pun kita serahkan, kita tengah buat penyelarasan. Kalau sekarang sudah ada 306,000 yang telah pun mendaftar di Messejahtera, so makna ada lagi balance about 100,000 ya yang kita akan selaraskan supaya yang ini bila kita tahu yang mana yang tidak didaftarkan, kita akan gerakkan sukarelawan kita. Kita ada home health services, kita ada sukarelawan di bawah JKM, YKN ya untuk kita daftarkan mereka ini.
So far, Datuk Sri Rina said more than 105,000 OKUs have received their first dose of the vaccine shots and over 38,000 have completed both doses. She was met after observing the vaccination process at Industrial Training and Rehabilitation Centre at Bangi Selangor involving 26 OKU students. The Health Ministry reported 6,437 new COVID-19 cases in the country today, bringing the cumulative total to 745,703. According to a statement by its Director General, Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah, 14 of the cases today were import cases, while the remaining were all local transmissions. Selangor remains the state with the highest new number of infections with 2,299 cases reported, followed by Kuala Lumpur with 1,361 cases and Negeri Sembilan 700 cases. Meanwhile, 5,298 recoveries were recorded, bringing the total recovery tally to 677,751, equivalent to a 90.89% recovery rate. Following this development, there are currently 62,844 active cases being monitored by MOH. This includes 905 cases treated in intensive care units ICU, with 455 of them requiring respiratory aid. MOH also reported 107 new COVID-19 related deaths in the past 24 hours, taking the country's death toll to 5,107. Police have successfully crippled a drug smuggling syndicate following the arrest of 2 men and confiscation of various drugs worth 23.72 million ringgit in Jalan Raya Timur Barat, Gerik, Perak. Bukit Aman Narcotics Criminal Investigation Department NCID Director Datuk Razaruddin Hussein said both suspects aged 27 and 58 years old and from Kelantan were arrested at about 6 p.m. Datuk Razaruddin said both suspects were the driver and attendant of a truck with a luxury MPV on tow as a guise to evade authorities. Upon inspection, police found drugs believed to be methamphetamine and ketamine weighing 444 kilogram concealed in Chinese tea packages inside the MPV. Police also confiscated cash amounting to 19,672 ringgit. Datuk Razaruddin said the drugs were believed to be for international markets, including Indonesia, the Philippines, South Korea and Australia. Both suspects are being remanded for a week until 3rd July to facilitate investigations. Coming up in sports, gymnast Jeremiah Liu set to make Olympics debut. National men's artistic gymnast Jeremiah Liu Pei Sing has qualified for Tokyo Olympics next month, which will also be his debut at the prestigious sporting event. The Malaysian Gymnastic Federation MGF Honorary Secretary Afrita Aryani Nasril, in a statement late last night, confirmed the men's all-around event slot for Jeremiah. Afrita Ariani said Jeremiah's success in qualifying for Tokyo was based on the results of his participation in the 2019 World Artistic Gymnastic Championship in Stuttgart, Germany. With his inclusion, Malaysia has 24 athletes in 8 sports, including national gymnastic queen Farah and Abdul Hadi, who will be competing in Tokyo, while several more national athletes are awaiting qualification. Jeremiah also will be Malaysia's second male gymnast to make an appearance in the Olympic, following the history created by Ng Shu Wai when he qualified for the 2004 Athens Olympics in Greece. In 2018 Asian Games in Indonesia, Jeremiah finished 14th in men's all-round event and was placed 6th in men's pommel horse event at the 2019 Philippines SEA Games before the COVID-19 pandemic hit, which saw him focusing on a shoulder injury recovery process throughout 2020. The Tokyo Olympics is scheduled to be held from 23rd July to 8th August. All right, so that sports item wraps up today's edition of News at 10. In our top story, bank to waive compounded interest. Do join us again tomorrow afternoon on updates at noon at 12:30 p.m. I'm Shuhaida Arifin. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and have a pleasant evening.